to MySQL, it expects to be talking to MySQL, not init.rc. So all of a sudden, Apache would start getting errors. So we added a thing called permissive domain. So in RHEL 6, there's a new tool, there's a new command called permissive. And actually, if you want to pick, say, Apache domain and make it permissive, you can just execute this command. A permissive domain is like running the entire system, but it's for one domain, one type. So SELinux has 3 types: enabled, disabled, and permissive. Now we can run in an enabled enforcing mode and have 1 or 2 processes permissive. If you looked at a Fedora release and did an SEManage permissive-L to list all the permissive domains, it'll list probably about 50. What we're doing now in Fedora is when we create a new confinement, we want the entire Fedora release in permissive mode. And you guinea pigs that run Fedora help us build the ball. If you report the bug, you fix the bug, and keep on going. When we come out with the next version of Fedora, we take all the permissive domains and make them enforcement. So we get about 6 to 9 months of permissive run before we even think about turning an application to enforcement. This is also a good tool if you guys want to develop policy yourself. If you don't trust yourself doing a good job on policy, you can run in permissive mode, gather the APT, give it to your customer base, and continue to run it. I'm going to skip over the last couple of slides. So I don't know if I'm running out of time. I can go forever?
Absolutely.
I can start showing more pictures of my family. Okay, since RHEL 5, does everybody here understand how RHEL gets developed? The secret sauce of RHEL is Fedora. Okay, Fedora is a operating system that released every 6 months. I believe we're releasing Fedora 15 any moment now, any second. Actually, I think it might be next week. Left yesterday, and now it's moving, I don't know, by wagon train out to the mirrors, and it'll be released within the next couple of days. We released it on May 1st, or close to it. This is probably the worst release of that. The main reason for that is just because Fedora 15 is different from Fedora 14 as probably any Fedora has ever been in the previous version. So if you want to try out a really interesting operating system, try Fedora 15. Anyway, so we release a new operating system every 6 months, usually around May 1st and Halloween. This room, October 31st, and that's sort of our target date. A lot of RHEL developers and a lot of developers in the open source community work on Fedora. Every so often, every few years, couple of years, we decide this Fedora is good enough to release as a RHEL, and we sort of freeze that Fedora. Then for the next 6 to 9 months, we work on hardening it, getting it to work with 8 gazillion bytes or some huge amount of bytes, memory, huge disks, all the stuff that enterprise people care about. For the next 9 months, we harden it, we backport any fixes from Fedora in the next release, and that's how we release RHEL. So right now, RHEL 5 was based on Fedora 6. RHEL 6 is based on Fedora 13. So since RHEL 5, we've had Fedora 4. We've had RHEL 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, all the way up to 5.5. I think 5.6 is the next one. And we've had 7 Fedora releases. So we've had Fedora 7 through Fedora 13. All those bug fixes. All that bug fixes has gone into RHEL 6. Also, SELinux has at least been ported and is running on each one of those distributions. And I keep forgetting to add SUSE to that. SUSE now ships SELinux enabled, although they don't ship a policy. We've added, so basically we've had all that fixing to it. Now we've had enhancements, as you've seen, but a lot of things were fixed. We also introduced a new tool, new SE troubleshoot tool. I think I'm about to show that, but the big thing the SE troubleshoot had is it had the bug Dan Walsh button. And it became the bane of my existence because you can enter a username and password for Bugzilla, and then you can hit that button as much as you want. And every time there's an electric shock that goes off it, you zaps me. So when we first turned that on, in one weekend we had over 1,000 bug reports show up. So I had to work very hard. We did do a very good job of noticing duplicates when we started, but zero multi-level security. Okay, next. This is the SE troubleshoot tool. One of the things the SE troubleshoot tool now has the restore buttons, fix it button. So if it notices that definitely like a labeling is wrong, you have the ability to say fix it. It has analysis built into it. We're actually going to be shipping a new one of these in 6.2. So the one in Fedora 15 right now is different than this tool. The enhancement over this tool tries to fix the best match, and that would solve your problem. And Fedora 15 now we have one that gives you the choice of what the best match is, not me or some arbitrary number. So we actually provide you like if three things would solve the ABC, we'll give you a list of all three, and it's up to you guys to pick which one you want to do. Lastly, tool chain improvements. We've added a thing called equivalency to file context labeling. What this means, the file context line up here says label everything under source web as if it was under var ww. Another thing, Solaris, old-time Solaris guys always put their home directories under export home. I guess because they're using diskless environments or something. So if you wanted, you could say label everything under export home if it was under /home, and you get all the standard labeling. And so that's been added. Order to allow now, we'll look for Booleans when it sees ABCs, and we'll report those to you. There's a cool tool if you want to start playing around with writing policy. It's called SELinux. Actually, a great policy just out of that line there. Just give it an executable name and a great policy. You can start writing, and you'll start testing and generating new policies. And its permissive demands are already covered. There's lots of new documentation available in multiple different sources. And if you enjoyed my talk, you can follow me. That's the hip thing to say now. Red Hat, Dan. That's my Twitter name, or more importantly, the place I usually am at is Dan Walsh. That's what we got. Live journal. That's my blog site. You look for the people pages. You can see. I'm not going to give you where you can find my presentations, because I want you to just Google Dan Walsh presentations, and you'll find it. That's a lot easier than putting out on Fedora People Project.org. That's it. Any questions? No? I was going to say, America, they'd be all over me. Yes? LibRev, yeah. Right. RHEV is a stripped down operating system with LibRev running inside of it. I'm lying a little bit. It will be in 6.2. LibRev will be in 6.2 as the default way of launching virtual machines. Using RHEV and RHEVM right now, the dirty little secret is using a thing called BDSM, which doesn't take advantage of this software. That's being replaced out in 6.2. In relevant Fedora now, but in 6.2 time for end of the year, we'll be using the SREV technology for the cover.
So RHEV H, will be using Fedora SELinux?
Yes. Yes, RHEV H. RHEV H is the hypervisor. There's RHEV H, RHEVM, and RHEV, I guess, is the bigger model. So RHEV H is the minimum operating system that's running just for virtualization. In RHEL 6.2, that will have libvirt as the launching tool for launching applications. Libvirt has Spice and all the extra stuff been added onto it. So that'll be 6.2 and the year. Yes?
You're depending a lot on the fact that you're using random numbers to make sure that you don't get inflation.
Correct.
There have been recent attacks on several popular sites that were using random numbers to generate random URLs, and you didn't know these URLs could get Facebook pictures for you.
Random numbers have been generated over the years. The main reason I'm using random numbers instead of known numbers is because it's quicker. I could just start at 0 and start allocating numbers. Okay, so the reason we actually using random numbers is I don't want to go try this one, try this one, try this one. So I'm using a number between, I'm basically using a number between 1 and 500,000. And then that libvirt seeing if that's already been used. If it has, they'll pick another random number. So this is not, we're not using the numbers for any tricky stuff here. All we're using is we want to make, libvirt needs to make sure that whatever number it gives to one process, it doesn't give to another. Yes, we're checking conflicts, duplicates, because duplicates we'd be dead. That's the secret sauce. Same with Sandbox. It's the same routine. I mean, basically, in Sandbox, it's actually using the abstract namespace, and we're actually allocating name sockets based on the random number. So that's just a hack, so that that's our inter-process communication. While Sandbox is running, it actually has a abstract name socket, and an SVert is libvirt recording. The main idea here is the fact that it's randomness has nothing to do. Randomness in things like algorithms, encryption algorithms is important. In this case, it's not really.